Oh, interesting. I played against BU. Oh, Meg Sanders is up there. Do you know about the lawsuit for cannabis provisions? They're trying to take the unconstitutionality of the cannabis industry.
Next up is a report on one of the most popular trade shows in cannabis in Massachusetts. It's called the Flower Expo.
Adorable.
This year, it's moving from their original home in Greenfield to a new location in one of the most
Next
active
up is a
cannabis
report
markets in the
on
state,
one of the most
Northampton.
popular trade shows
There
in
are
cannabis
14
in
vibrant
Massachusetts.
dispensaries.
It's called the
in
Flower
a city
Expo.
that sells
This year,
more
it's
cannabis
moving
from
from
the
the
original
home
home
in
in
Greenfield
Greenfield
to
to
a
the
new
new
station.
station.
It's also
in
the
one of
city
the
that
most
was the
next
first
up is a
to
report
the
on
controversial
one of the
community
most
impact
popular fee of
But she's
3% tariff, giving a break
but she's
to
so
all the small
good.
businesses in the cannabis space in that city. PCM TV founder Jimmy Young will be on hand at the Flower Expo on Wednesday with a live report and a remote on location. Here he talks with Jason Bello, the organizer of event, about what to expect this week.
Thanks, Elena. I'm so excited to have Jason Bello on with us here in our weekly Cannabis
way.
Coast to Coast news show because I'll be joining the
No,
Flower
same
Expo
color.
gang in
Like color.
Northampton, Massachusetts,
Always have.
Wednesday and Thursday this week. And the Flower Expo is, as Jason calls it, the
Red, white,
premier
and blue.
B2B cannabis event
I'm a
every
true
year.
patriot from
Jason, thank you
Boston,
so much
yeah.
for joining us. And again, thank you
From
for allowing me to
Boston.
come in and do
I
my
don't talk
thing
like I'm
on
from
location.
Boston. Trust me, I
Yeah,
had
thank you,
the
Jimmy. Always a pleasure to speak with you, and we're incredibly excited about the event this year in Northampton. Obviously, we had 2 incredible years proving the concept of the show, which has now become a beloved event amongst Massachusetts brands and retailers. But really solidifying our status as the preeminent cannabis B2B trade show in the state, and we've got a lot of things to look forward to in Northampton this year.
And I got to ask the question. You were in Greenfield for 2 years. It was a great time. Everybody loved being there, indoor, outdoor. Hopefully, it won't have those cloudbursts that have been part of it for the last a couple of years there. It's not going to rain. It's going to be 2 beautiful summer days. Why go to Northampton? What was it about Northampton that appealed?
Yeah, well, I don't want to cause any kind of hurras, but it is looking pretty good on the weather app, Jimmy. So fingers crossed. But but I would say two focal things. I mean, number one is local infrastructure. Northampton has a lot of hotel rooms, which is good. People don't need to commute to the show. There's restaurants, there's bars, and then really secondly, it's the venue itself. We're very fortunate that we're able to get the three county fairgrounds. By way actually of an exclusive deal with the city. We're the only cannabis event allowed in the town. But the venue is incredible. It has, a couple of spacious indoor buildings that we're going to utilize, and I think it'll really, increase the professionalness of the event, the comfort level, and let people focus on what they're there to do, and that's get business deals done.
That's right. And I know you take a lot of pride in the fact that you've got hundreds of dispensary people, bud tenders. There's going to be a lot of decision makers in the cannabis business industry on hand to take part in your event, right?
Definitely. That's what the entire show is about. Our motto is brands meet buyers. I have over 330 dispensaries that are attending. On day one, that's going to be all at the buyer level. And on day two, those buyers plus bud tenders will be coming out. Um, you know, the focus of the exhibitors is really cannabis. So there's not a lot of ancillary brands there. It mostly is, just the top cannabis brands in the state that you want to meet. But, expecting obviously incredible activations from companies like Nova Farms, Cresco, Perpetual, Green Thumb, Select, Shaka, Kana. I've got the names go on and on and on, but
But I didn't hear my brand Yellow Labs is going to be there with Electroleaf and ACM.
That's right.
We want to make sure we get a plug in for those guys as well. And they're looking forward to it. They will be out there. I will be at that booth. I'll also be live streaming right at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, which is the first day of the event. And I'm really looking forward to that as well. You also have some breakout sessions and some panels. People are actually coming in and there's going to be an educational component to this too, correct?
Yeah, we're doing our most robust speaker panel ever this year. It's going to be 4 panels on each day, and actually it'll be kicked off with an incredible one-on-one with Chem Dog, who's the head grower over at Canna Provisions, who made the strain by the same name.
That's funny. And we all know that's a reference to a former late, great Boston Red Sox Rem Dog, Joey Remy. I don't know if you knew that, but that's definitely how that all evolved and everything. And I love the fact that Canna Provisions will be there as well. They were one, I think they are still the most successful dispensary in Massachusetts because of their beautiful location in Lee. And of course, expanded past that now to other towns out in Western Mass. Northampton is really a haven for the cannabis community. There's 14 dispensaries out there. The mayor got rid of the horrible host community 3% tax that was put on every town in Massachusetts has it. There's only a couple that have waived it. In fact, I believe there's still a lawsuit going on about the actual legality of that. That being said, Northampton embraces the cannabis culture, and it will be on display at your event. It's going to be a highlight, if you will, of this year for sure.
Definitely, and we were talking about it earlier, but I think incredibly fitting to put the event there as well, because it's the most sales per capita in Massachusetts for cannabis.
There you go. So a good time will be had by all. There'll be business done. I'll be there. Jason will be there, and we look forward to seeing you there.
And we're here. That's what I just promised that, right? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Flower Expo in Northampton, Massachusetts. I'm PCM TV founder Jimmy Young, and we are live on location at the 3 County Fairgrounds, which is a very big complex of 3 or 4 buildings, and there were a lot of horses here. Joining me is not one of those horses, okay? But we have plenty of horse flies. That was my segue, okay? And this is Rebecca Maestas Sincere, and she is the Chief Marketing Officer of Bud and Mary's, a brand that is, well, I think it's establishing itself as a national treasure. Rebecca, you too are a national treasure, and thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you for having me. And I appreciate you giving me a little promotion there from VP to CMO. I'm making my way up the ranks.
I'll call you whatever you want me to call you. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough.
As
Thank
long
you.
as we don't late for dinner, right? That's
right.
Right. Tell us a little bit about Bud and Mary's. I know this story. I was so amazed when we first met at MJ Unpacked a few weeks ago, and you had told me about this guy, Bud, and then you kind of dropped it in that the guy passed away probably about a month and a half ago now. And then I look at the bio on the website, check it out. It was part of my little feature. It was my special. I'm sure you watched the special. Of course you did. And I'm amazed at the company that he built. And more importantly, the focus on giving back. I'm such a socially responsible capitalist. I so believe in that. And you guys embrace it. Do you not?
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially through our awareness program, which we established, which helps local communities all throughout our different markets. Right. So right now, as a matter of fact, we just launched one in our Missouri market. So that'll be our first one there. We did a collaboration with a company called Can Play that helps build accessible playgrounds for children. That's one of the many things that they do. They offer services for children and adults, but we thought it was a really great cause to give back to. So we are donating a portion of our proceeds from each one of the units that we sell goes back. And I believe it's $2.50 for every unit that we're selling in the state of Missouri, which is a significant amount.
Especially in an industry where the margins are teeny weeny, right? So you guys have figured out a way to maximize that teeny weeny, if you will. What other things differentiate the Bud and Mary's brand, and how many states are you in now?
Yeah, so exciting news. We just launched into Illinois as of a couple days ago. So that makes it our fifth state. So now we're in Colorado, Illinois, nope, not Massachusetts yet. That's on the radar. Missouri, Michigan, and Iowa, of course, our home base.
That's right. And that's where the home world headquarters of Bud and Mary's parent company is. And I'm kind of sure I remember what the name is, but rather than embarrass myself, what's the name of the company?
It's called Kemin Industries with a K, Kemin. And the CEO of that company is the owner of our company, of Bud and Mary's. He's a PhD researcher. So he really, I think that's what differentiates us and makes us unique from other cannabis companies is the research component. Really, he believes in it and believes in the molecular structure of the plant, especially THC, CBD, and some of these other minor cannabinoids. But we've had an opportunity to do a lot of really interesting things since he established MedFarm, which is the only Schedule 1 DEA license in the United States that held by an actual cannabis manufacturer. You know, there are other scientists in the US that hold the same designation, but not any others that are actually manufacturing products. So that puts us in a unique position right there. We're able to hold patents, which we hold several patents on different products that we have, including the mix, which you and I were talking about earlier, which is a water soluble powder. Really, you can make anything into an edible with that product.
Can I give it a little plug? I've tried it. It really, really works. And you're right. I have smoothies because I love fruit and I love fruit juices. And yes, I did. And it's a 10 milligrams per packet, correct?
Right, you got it. Mhm.
And that's just, a lot of people, the entry level dose is 2.5 milligrams. We all get that. And the whole mantra that the American nurses put out there, start low, go slow. Rebecca, what you understand, like I understand, is still people go into these dispensaries and they buy by THC percentage. And there has to be an educational process to some of the consumers because that really isn't the only way or the best way to identify what impact and effect you might want to get from the plant.
Absolutely, 100%. Really, that boils down to the bud tender knowledge at the point of sale, which is why companies like Bud and Mary's, we have a multitude of different product lines underneath our portfolio. And so it is imperative for us to provide that type of education, right? We use a module called Learn Brands. So it's an online platform. Bud tenders can log in their free time, or sometimes dispensaries will make it a requirement for them to take those modules. And then once they've completed that, they can actually get a product certificate. So that allows them to pull one unit out of the live inventory sitting at the dispensary and try it for themselves. And then we close the loop with them with a survey. So what's really great about that is we can really hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
There's a theme.
Yes, we're horses today. I got the horse hair, got the horses outside. So we hear it from them, and really they're brutally honest. Let's be real. So it really helps us kind of shift, maybe figure out what improvements we can make from an innovation standpoint.
Wilbur. Yes. Okay. Do you remember Mr. Ed?
Yes, I
You
do.
do. You do. You know the Mr. Ed reference.
I'm old enough. Yes.
No, you're not. Stop it. I mean, I remember black and white TV. You do not. Let's talk, as a marketing person, as someone who's been around in this space now, the industry has a ton of over-regulated rules and regulations that they have to follow, the licensees.
Yes.
And figuring out a way, a lot of limitations on marketing. It kind of gets my fire upset when I see the substance abuse community with an access to mass media talking about the dangers of this plant without equal time to those that have used this plant, have saved their lives, changed their lives. You can't have access to the mass media. How frustrating is that?
Yeah, very frustrating. Although what we've done is leverage earned media, right? So there's a big difference between paid media versus earned media. And honestly, even going back to my days at Dixie, that's how we put Dixie on the map. At that point in time, we're talking 2014 or maybe even earlier than that, before adult use was even a thing in Colorado. That was the only way to reach the masses. So it was about leveraging your network of publicists, of journalists, to make sure that they were willing to spread the credo and the word for us. And so that's how I think, we were able to make an impression upon people and really almost pump up some of these companies maybe a little bit more than they were at the time, right? Because you were able to leverage those networks.
Right, we want to put a shout out to Maverick PR and to Shauna, who makes it happen and has become a good friend and someone who supports my cause, which is really just talking about this product like it's a plant medicine, because it is a plant medicine. I don't even like to refer to it as a drug.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And so again, going back to the research, I mean, we have a team of full-time PhD researchers that sit in our laboratory in Denver, Colorado. They do all sorts of different studies. In fact, we've done some clinical trials for Alzheimer's and dementia, which is great. Really interesting. I think you got an opportunity to talk to Dr. Duncan Mackey about that.
Saying, how's my friend Dr. Duncan doing? And it's interesting you mentioned CBD. There was a note in our news about that CBD. They've done a trial and they see the impact on people with dementia. So, we're just learning. We're just, and they're still learning new cannabinoids. I talked to a guy today and he says, yeah, there's CBC in it. I go, CBC? I know CBG.
Queen?
You know it.
Yes.
Duncan will be happy that you knew.
Hopefully.
I had no idea. And sure enough, it's a huge anti-inflammatory. And I'm like, great, get me some. There's no body in America that's more inflamed than mine, to be honest. Not that I want to show it off or talk about my body. Anyway, Rebecca, how can people find out about Bud & Mary's? One of the things I loved about finding out about Bud & Mary's is the website is so thorough. It really gives you a feel for how the company has worked.
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow us on Instagram, the good old IG at Bud Mary Company. You can visit us online at budmary.com. You can come to Benzinga and visit us in person next week in Chicago as we get ready to launch into our newest market, Illinois. We're so excited about it.
And I have a clone guy in Chicago that will be covering, I think, that event once he and I, Mark and I, talk a little bit about it. But Rebecca, I really have enjoyed chit-chatting with you, not only here in Northampton, but also a couple of weeks ago at MJ Unpacked. And anything that Bud & Mary's wants me to do for them, you got it anytime.
We appreciate it. Thanks again for having me today, Jimmy. Always a pleasure.
It's so nice. I appreciate that. And now we've got somebody very special who's going to follow Rebecca. And I have a very much of a personal contact with Deirdre because she really was the first person I met in cannabis. And her company that's no longer with us, Rev Clinics, was the sponsor of my first show for 4 years. So we're going to take a break. We're going to swap out Rebecca for Deirdre, but don't go away because it'll only be a matter of minutes. And Deirdre's right here. Okay, we'll be back. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll give you a goodbye hug. You want to play next?
Sorry.
Deirdre, sit. Sit. That's right. Wait, is that your friend Bryn?
Yeah, Bryn.
You know, I offered you a deal. I just want you to know. Okay,
Not wet.
No, it goes way back.
it does. Don't lean. Yeah, no, I'm sitting on the front. I'm sitting on the front. All right. Thank you. And a big group hug. Thank you. Appreciate it. Keep in touch, please. Okay. All right. Great. Sit, please, and sit on the edge.
You know, I don't like this.
What don't you like? Hang on. Just talk to me. Do you want your glasses on or off?
Yes.
I like them like that. I like them like that. You know, Deirdre, Okay. She's the famous Deirdre.
Absolutely. Oh, here I am.
And she just appeared. So when we pop up, we go, just so you guys know. I'm just waiting for my man, Eric, because we're live streaming right now. Yeah. And here we are. Look at that. It was almost like I was directing the show. And now it's like the Today Show. People are on our camera. Go ahead. You can wave just like at the Today Show. That's a camera. You guys are live. You too. I'm pointing to wave. There you go. Very good. There we go. The solar team is in the house. All right. Let's talk to somebody that I've known really since I know the anniversary. I know the date was March 20th, 2018, Deirdre, when you and I met at that booth at NECANN, and you were so awesome about being willing to sponsor my first ever podcast, which was In the Weeds. And I'm not going to embarrass you and say how much I love you, but you know that.
It is reciprocated.
Yeah. And now you're not with that company anymore, but you're with a new company that I'm familiar with too, Solar Therapeutics. And tell me how that is going.
It's been a wild ride. It's been fun. It's exciting. I'm excited to be part of a new team, and it's been fun. It's been a great start.
How many salesperson are under you, if you don't mind me asking?
Right now, we have one on my team, and his name is Eric. He is our account manager for wholesale, and he's crushing it. He's a delight to work with. And Bryn Gibson, she is our field marketing representative. She is also fabulous. I'm very blessed to have them both on my team, and we're having a lot of fun together. And we're here today just to make more friends and say hi to familiar faces and meet new ones.
Well, and I have a thing, and I actually brought this up in the interview this past week. Aaron Smith, the executive director of the NCIA, I now co-host with Aaron the weekly podcast called The Voice of Cannabis. What a shock. Oh, you can't see it, but it's actually on that trade show booth. It's right up there. It's out of frame, as we say, because I don't want you to see how I use, duct tape to put the thing up on the wall and screws that I had to hammer in. Anyway, can the industry be incentivized to do more environmentally friendly building like solar power? And I asked Dina Titus that exact question, and she thought it was a brilliant idea, which is something I come up with on a somewhat regular basis, but doesn't mean anything. Deirdre, how nice is it for you guys to be able to wave the flag? I'm still sure you're the only solar powered grow in Massachusetts. Yes.
Well, I'll be honest, we are proud to be very sustainable at Solar. I don't know all the background details, but we for certain do have solar panels, as well as many other environmentally friendly materials, and our building and air vents and grows and all that. So I know it's an ever ongoing daily process to always try to stay more sustainable, but proud to be part of a team that is conscious, at least, of our Mother Earth.
Right. It's important because that lesson too has to be shared with others, because they just don't understand the power of hemp and the power of this plant to not just get you high, but they're building houses with it, with hempcrete now. They're doing a ton of research. We don't need to get into the whole Texas situation, because it just shows you how our elected officials can screw up a good thing.
Well, I'm not going to go there, Jimmy.
I can do that. I say it a lot. And look at how politically correct she was. He danced around that immediately, which is okay. You don't have to feel obligated to comment on that. All right. But it just drives me nuts. And I got a chance to go to DC for lobby days with the NCIA a couple of weeks ago. Now I know why nothing happens. They're really good at delay.
Oh, well, we're all thick-skinned. We're all used to that. It is part of the industry. We wish we could move the needle faster on a lot of things around here, but I think the industry, the ones that are here, the ones that want to stay and play are gonna, kind of stay united and group together, and hopefully they'll, make some changes that will benefit, everybody.
That's right. What is the goal of Solar Therapeutics? Is it A, keep the doors open, B, enlighten and educate people? What is that? Can you give me a little mission statement of what the focus of the company might be on all this, or is that a little too much to ask?
No, I mean, we definitely are not a one, shop. We definitely hold a variety of positive, from our partnerships to sustainability to packaging to our love for the plants to our people. Our people probably are the most important thing in our building. We're kind of nothing without them. We've had people at Solar that are started back when the fixtures were being put in, and they're still there. We're proud to have them, and they're ever growing. It's exciting to see the factory where it was 5-6 years ago and where it is now. So I believe they're in a good spot. They're definitely going to keep their doors open. I would say stay tuned to see what's coming, because there is good things happening. There's new brands coming in. There's new packaging being rebranded. So there's events coming up in September, October, October 1st. It'll be my first disc golf event at Solar. I heard it's very popular, Maple Hill. So if you play disc golf, get your team ready. I hear the sponsorships sell out really fast. But I think good things only at Solar for us and for our partners and anyone that wants to work with us.
How was that opening day in Seekonk? Is that where I was?
Conch, Somerset.
Somerset.
Somerset is the grow.
Right.
They're connected to the retail. They have Dartmouth. And they're also out in Rhode Island as well. But the Somerset is like their satellite office there.
That's where the grow is, right?
That is where the grow is.
That's where I was.
Yeah, the factory.
That's where I interviewed Ed, and Ed is still there.
Ed is still there. Ed is a lot of fun. He is a blast to work for and with. His team loves him. I'm excited to see where, this year and next year brings us. And also Rob Keller, he's been, just super awesome. I'm psyched that to be a part of that team.
Well, they're very lucky to have you because, as you know, I am one of your biggest fans. Okay. And yes, we go back, it's seven years.
What that means in cannabis years.
What's that in cannabis here?
Like double.
Double.
So we are
14.
15 and we are not going to show it.
Age is just a number, Deirdre. You know that. This is the joy of the journey of life is what we both have experienced, and we're still here to tell the story. So, Deirdre Rovito, how do people get in touch with you? I mean, come on, tell them. Let's give a plug here.
I think everyone knows how to get in touch with Deidre.
I know.
It's you can find me. I'm out there. I'm easily available and approachable. I think my number might be on a billboard somewhere, Jimmy. No, for real, it just feels that way. But my team, Eric and Bryn and Zachary, they're out there. We're on Apex. You can find us on Apex. We have a full menu, all SKUs. Check us out.
Explain Apex, because guess what? Yellow Labs uses Apex too. Can you?
We use a Apex platform to help buyers and sellers connect. And we can actually go on and place orders. We can post specials and run bundles, deals. You can use it for CRM. There's a whole bunch of things you can use for Apex. Lit Alerts is now integrated into it. So that's a wonderful feature because it's kind of like snooping and you get to see who's out of what and help with sell through. So it's a great bridge to follow up. It's a wonderful tool. We're very lucky to have it. I appreciate having it. It's growing and changing and evolving like all of us every day, being a platform. But to be honest, I'm actually very happy with it so far.
We're happy that you're still in the business, Deirdre, because you've made such you've really impacted the Massachusetts market in a lot of different ways. And I know you don't like to talk about yourself, but I love to embarrass her because I love her, and she's really accomplished a lot more than she likes to actually share. But Deirdre, as always, thank you so much.
My pleasure. It's always great to see you. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
I'm going to be
Stranger.
around after 420, but
And let's get together and smoke an El Blunt.
El Blunto is here. That's cool. I don't know if my doctor will want me to do that, but that's okay. You know what I have? I have the swag bag. So there you go. All right. We're going to take a break, and then my friends from Yellow Labs, Yellow Labs are going to be here with me. Ander Wensberg is supposed to be here by now, but we're going to take a little break, step away. We're going to find them, and we'll be back with more live from the Flower Expo. Don't go anywhere. Where the hell is he? He was just here. Ander.
He's probably wandering behind.
I know.
I think he was behind you.
I don't know. I can't. I can't. So I'll grab his stuff. Text him. I mean, I could Phil, Thank you, Deirdre. Do you want me to line up an interview? Because I could probably do that. Oh, hey, Seth. Seth. I got somebody. I need somebody to fill in until my guest gets here. Cool. That'll be cool. Can you talk to me until my guest shows up? He's supposed to be, it's Ander too. It's this guy. It's the guy with my product. Just come on, sit, pal. We go back a few years. Yes, it's live on the internet. Would you like a free plug? This is worth $250 retail. Okay. All right. Cool. Just talk to me. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to hold the mic. You all right? Good for you, man. All right. We're good. Anytime you're ready, Eric. I don't see Ander, so I can talk to Seth until I see Ander. Oh, look, and here we are. We're back live here at the Flower Expo. And this is not Ander Wensberg from Yellow Labs. This is Seth Werby from the Cannabis Creative Group, which is one of the most established marketing agencies in the greater Boston area. Am I accurately describing you guys?
Absolutely. We do digital marketing across the cannabis space all over the country, actually, not just the Northeast. So, yeah.
There you go. And we were involved with them at the very beginning. So I give them credit because they're the ones who created our Instagram, Facebook page, I think LinkedIn page. And this was in 2019. So it was a long time ago. And we're going to give a shout out to one of the guys that's still with you, Dan Serrard.
Yeah.
Because he's now another new daddy, right?
Yeah. He's got his second son this weekend. So shout out to Dan. Congratulations. And we're here representing for him. So all good.
That's right. And I got to tell you, 2 boys under one roof. Oh my God, you better worship the ground your wife walks on, don't you think?
I mean, good for him. So he still gets the job done. So I can't complain.
All right, Seth, here's a layup for you. Integrative marketing. How important is that for the cannabis industry, especially since you have to be creative with getting your messaging out into the public?
What was the question?
Integrative marketing. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said. Yeah, I mean, you got to do everything. It's all about customer acquisition and retention. So when it comes to owning a dispensary, marketing a dispensary, you're looking for a couple of things. What you want: new customers. You want those customers and the ones you have to come back, and you want them to spend more money every time they come into your store. I mean, those are the things you're looking for. How do you find those customers? They're all out there. They have choices, whether there's a dispensary a mile down the road, a block down the road, or 10 miles. You got to find them. And then they're in different places, whether it's doing programmatic ads on Google, running good SEO, good social media, email marketing, PR. There's so many efforts that you can pull together. And that's what we do. We try to help people just acquire and retain customers, get them to spend more money.
The old days of buying a commercial in the 6 o'clock local news and the full page ad in the local paper, those days are long gone. One of the things that impressed me the first time you and I met is you made it very clear to me that you understood algorithms. Do you remember that conversation we had in the studio back in the day within the weeds, that you understood? You felt like and how challenging is that? Because they drive me nuts as a person in this industry.
I mean, I've been doing in search or digital marketing for over 20 years, I guess 22 years to be exact at this point. And although everything's changed, Google was 2 years old when I started in this space, and I started with big brands like Pfizer, P&G, companies like that. What doesn't change is if it's good for the user, it's good for the search engine, good for the AI bot, good for whatever you're trying to get. You're just not trying to trick anybody. It's like going to the gym. When you do marketing, if you're not doing anything, you're out of shape. Don't expect to just have a good result. If you start going to the gym and doing a little bit, like Jimmy said, doing integrated and doing different activities, you're going to get, you work on your biceps one day, your legs the next, you're running another, doing calisthenics, all of a sudden after a couple of months, you're going to be in pretty good shape. And marketing does the same for businesses.
And we've been doing a lot more live streams on our social media platforms, and we've noticed a bit of a lift in our viewership and our subscriber base at Pro Cannabis Media. That's our URL on our website. But I'm gonna put you on the spot here. We're gonna do a rebrand, Seth. We're gonna move away from the word cannabis, the color green, the leaf, and we're WPCM TV Network, probably starting in September, but we're moving towards that. And the reason why is we want to expand into the wellness community. And that's what the W stands for. So you can add the wellness professional cannabis media, or we also can consider now wellness psilocybin and cannabis media too, because we now have a second plant medicine out there that it seems there's more capital flowing into psilocybin. There's more research into it. Is the cannabis media doing a disservice by covering that? Or is that part of the evolution of acceptance and normalization? Good question.
I mean, destigmatization in general. Yeah, it is a good question. That's deep. I mean, it really it's how you were raised and then the communities you're in. I think, I use the example of my nieces who are 9 and 12 now. And their dispensary is right in town. So by the time they're 21, 22, it's just like going by a liquor store like when we were kids. So it's not going to be out of the norm. And the destigmatization for them is now happening at such a young age that, they're able to understand what is out there as kids, but not feel weird about it when they get to a certain age. So that will happen as the generations gap. And it can follow suit in other areas. I'm more of a cannabis entrepreneur, if you will. But with that said, we're definitely keeping our eye on what's happening in other spaces. And when the time is right, our team is prepared. And we do work in a lot of spaces. We work with a lot of restaurants, a lot of lawyers, a lot of aviation, companies not in the cannabis space, as well as we've been around for 16 years. But, the last 8 or so years, we've really heavily focused on this market here.
And what's the future? What do you think? I mean, we've had a change at the top of the charts, as it were. We now have a Republican government controlled all three stages, all three branches of the government now. And everybody's like talking about doom and gloom. And yet I think, and I have some faith because I really am more of a positive thinker now, that the Republicans may actually see this as an opportunity to make a difference and actually create something that is not just a fad, but actually can last forever. I mean, I have to put faith now in the fact that President Trump, a lot of times we never know what he's going to do, what he's going to say. He goes like the wind. So putting my faith in somebody is like that. I think when his approval ratings start to take more of a hit, he's going to look for a reason to get people back on his side. And he may use cannabis just like he used cannabis to help him get elected when he came out for it in Florida. So do you have any confidence at all that we're going to make this happen in the next 2 or 3 years, or are we looking at after he leaves the White House? And I know that this is a political question. If you don't feel comfortable answering it, that's okay too.
All good. You asked me what I thought about the future, and I was trying to think about Terminator 2 and how, the robots uprise. And I think that, really my honest answer is I think we're headed towards that, not anything else. But no, when it comes to politics, I'll not gonna get into politics at all except for this industry and my thoughts there. And no matter who's in office, I think there's too many livelihoods, myself included, that have risked everything and invested everything that I don't think you can reverse course at this point. I think if anything, there's fuel on the fire. There's no way to put it out. So are you going to throw more fuel on it and have it burn brighter? And in that sense, can the government make more money off of it and regulate and do things differently? Yeah, they could do things better. I mean, like I mentioned, we work with clients in all different states, and we challenge ourselves with the Texas and the Arkansas clients and the new bill last week and or in the last few weeks down in Texas with not even allowing certain types of Delta this and Delta that and CBD this. So there's ever flowing changes amongst the states. So some federal centralization would be nice. Without getting into politics, can this administration do it? I don't know if they can do anything. So we'll see.
I knew there would be some kind of a slam, and there had to be at some point in there. All right. Hey, Seth Werby, you know what? You've done more than your share of Phil in helping me out here. I'm really hoping that I can get to, it figures the one guy that was just here and was hovering for 2 or 3, at least 15, 20 minutes. When it's time for him to show up, he disappears.
That's all right.
And who is it? It was was it Deirdre or Rebecca said cannabis years, are like dog years, right? Is that accurate?
That's it. It's kind of like Central Time when it's cannabis. You said you're at, 2. He's on Cannabis Central Time, so all good.
Standard time is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And lastly, because I know he's wearing his golf hat. He had a hole in one a couple of years ago, right? And anyway, the point is now I got to ask you a question about Scotty Scheffler. I mean, the number he took a while to kind of get into shape for the season, but he's as dominant now as Tiger Woods ever was in his career. You agree?
There's the question I was waiting for, Jimmy.
Are you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's great to watch for in any sport when somebody can dominate like that. And I saw a stat the other day. He's won more tournaments in May 3 than the number of games the Colorado Rockies won as in baseball the whole month. So what it takes to win a golf tournament over 4 days and to grind against all those guys for all that money. I mean, it's beyond impressive. He's the best in the world. And you get that in some sports, and sometimes you just gotta. We had it with Tiger in the late '90s, early 2000s. You just got to enjoy it. Like it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch.
And nothing phases him. He's really, the power of psychology, sports psychology, specifically in golf, Seth. Seeing and imagining your shot, feeling it, and knowing the thing that blows me away is how precise these guys are. And they're always the X factor is always the wind, right? The elements that you can hear them now with the caddies. I love the production because you can actually hear the discussions. Do you find it an enjoyable watch now?
I mean, I always have enjoyed watching any sport on TV, but golf's nice on, it's nothing like a summer day where you open the windows, you're half asleep. If you get to play golf in the morning or do something fun in the morning, just relax on the couch. If you're into cannabis, enjoy it. And I always loved it to watch it. But yeah, I mean, I think just the players have gotten so much better, stronger. In every sport, they all have all the analytics and they've learned how to train and perfect their crafts. And now you get to kind of see it on Sundays at some of these events. It's fun to watch.
Has analytics destroyed baseball?
I don't know. I'm not.
When it comes to sports,
destroy my want to go to Fenway. I mean, I think I used to go 50 times a year when I was young, and now I turn down tickets on the regular. It's just although the games are faster, which is great. I like those changes. But it's not about feel anymore. It's about certain stats. So
well, anyway, he's Seth Werby, Cannabis Creative Group. How do we find you besides looking up Cannabis Creative Group and all that? Because that's the best thing we can do here.
CannabisCreative.com. Come to our website. We can help you with getting customers, retaining them, not just dispensaries, all types of cannabis businesses, CBD. We work across the space. We, I think, are the largest cannabis marketing agency in the country at this point. So award-winning, happy to help. And then also we have our event, the THC Open. That's the TEEHC Open on September 12th here in Massachusetts. Planning to have a sold-out event for the 4th straight year. And a great networking opportunity. You don't have to be a golfer. It's not about the golf. We actually have more activities for the people not golfing, hanging out. So it's trying to get everybody together, do some speed networking, make some money, leave with a smile, and enjoy yourself.
So nice of you to have it on my birthday last year. And it was our second live stream out in the field. So I appreciate that. I know it had absolutely nothing to do with the plan, and that's okay. But I'm filling here and I'm looking around and I still do not see my guy Ander. Hey, can you look? Well, let me ask you a question. I have to see what time it is. 2:52. Okay, well, we're gonna take a break, and I have no idea where he is, but you know what? At some point he'll show up and we'll do an interview and we'll see who else shows up, or I may just say enough already. But don't go anywhere because I can fill time, and we'll be back with more after this. All right, thanks. You bailed me out again.
No problem.
That's all. Don't worry about it. I mean, I don't think those type of, Thanks, man. From Hospitality.
I'm an IT guy at heart,
Enjoy.
Take care.
This guy's, it's a businessman. Greensfield's good, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Sorry. Oh my God. Hey, Shauna. Want to do an interview? You want to do an interview? Okay. I screw up the wide shot while using my phone. I'm I'm beside myself right now. Come on with me. You know what, Eric? Can't talk to me. Go on with me. Oh, Matt. How's that? That was a surprise, right? I guess I should just start talking. Unfortunately, my guest that was supposed to be here 20 minutes ago didn't show. And what's really bothers me is I work with this guy. It's the Yellow Labs guy. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense to me, but that's the way it works sometimes at trade shows. Everybody goes and gets distracted and is in a million different directions here. I tell you what, rather than me just filling for the next few minutes, Eric, I'm just going to toss it back, run that offline thing until somebody shows up and we'll do an interview. I don't have any other ideas. And I hope everybody, if anybody is out there watching and enjoying this, I mean, if you really want me to do shtick for a few minutes, I know I can do that. However, I will do this. I'm very good at promoting myself. So we're gonna give a little shout out to the NCIA's Voice of Cannabis podcast. That is a podcast that Aaron Smith, the executive director of the NCIA, and myself co-host and put out every week. And this week that we're releasing it's kind of an exclusive interview with Dina Titus, who is the co-sponsor of the state's 2.0 Act that is on the floor of the House of Representatives right now. And if you look at some of the details of that state's act, it gives power back to the states to make their own laws and rules about cannabis. It creates one regulatory body for both sides of the plant. And I say both sides because you have a hemp plant that supposedly by definition is 0.3% dry weight of THC, the intoxicating cannabinoid that's in that plant. Or this kind of stuff, the El Blunto or any Bud and Mary's. I mean, everybody's got a strain, everybody's got flower out there, and all the products that are derived that you see, the resins and the edibles and the vapes, those are all Delta-9 products, and that's the natural cannabinoid in the plant, as opposed to the Delta-8 cannabinoid, which is kind of synthetically created. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for people to understand, but that's really the differences between the two sides of this plant. And the States Act will put the regulation into the hands of the alcohol, tobacco tax regulators. And if you can regulate alcohol, a far more dangerous substance than cannabis, yes, it is, then you should be able to regulate a product like the cannabis sativa plant. So that's my little educational moment. And I filled a couple of minutes. Supposedly I'm supposed to have somebody else showing up here at 3:00. Obviously my 2:30 passed. Let me see. Hang on. Hey, Sean, is that Sean? Hello. I'll go see if that's Sean. And we'll take a little break. I'll step aside and see if I can track down the guy that's supposed to be here. Thanks. Don't go away. This be a laugh a moment. Thank you for doing that. I do. I totally do because it's supposed to be some kind of honesty because I can't. The guy didn't show. What? Oh, the taping guy. This guy. My product, the Yellow Labs guy. That's your product. That is the product I'm representing. At least I'm a spokesperson for them, anyway, we'll get. Oh yeah, there you go. That's what you want to do. Show and tell. You ready? Wait. All right, hang on another minute.
Live right now?
We're streaming live, but he hasn't punched us up. So when we pop up, that's when we go. It's kind of like my visual cue is what I used to say in soccer. All right, you cool? And here we are. We're back. And I told you I'd find somebody, and it's Sean Curley, who would go back we go back like 7 years now. You know that.
Yeah, it's been a while, Jimmy. Going back to the old Sensi magazine days, you live streamed my launch party. You know, as a good favor. We've been going back way back there. So good to see you all here still.
That Sensi night at the Roxy was really a fun.
Oh, the Royal.
That's right. It was the Royal. Right. I date myself because I can. You know, I've been around longer than most of the people in the cannabis space.
Yeah, man, it's good to see some of the people who've been out here forever as a supporter of the community, and you know, great event out here so far at the Flower Expo today. A lot of great, you know, a lot of great people, and you know, it's a beautiful day out here. So excited to be chatting with you.
More importantly, what is the collab group? And walk me through what you guys are doing, what your model is, and then you get to show some of your products.
Yeah, sure. So the collab group, we really help with marketing and distribution for brands. So we, you know, and also kind of set up some, you know, manufacturing partnerships. So we work primarily with a couple of brands. One is called Sluggers, infused pre-roll brand. We brought out from California. You can see they're collectible cannabis. It's like the 5-pack of infused pre-rolls, flower, bubble hash, THCA, and these ones are actually painted in keef. They also have a 2-gram blunt and a joint, which are amazing. And then we rock a brand Aura, which is a craft cultivator out here. You know, this is their Deadhead OG. It's fire. They got these Lizzie B joints, some great packaging.
Why? It's called Lizzie B.
Yeah, I mean, many of y'all probably heard of Lizzie Borden. Aura's down in Fall River. There's a Lizzie Borden museum, but she's kind of famous.
She's a famous murderer, right? I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
She is, you know, that's why we got the axe, right? So, you know, we'll give you, you know, 41 wax right on it. That's what it says. But, yeah, small craft cultivator, Aura out of Fall River, like I said. Yeah, they're, you know, many of you might have heard of the brand Mass Genetics. It's been out here in the legacy market for, you know, over a couple decades. One of their guys, Jay, is a grower, and a lot of these strains have been, you know, in Massachusetts, you know, and some of the award winners for years out here. So it's exciting to be working with some, you know, some OGs in the game. And we're actually working with them on some of the flower for sluggers too. So really putting some good stuff out there.
Love the OGs. You know, I really do. You know why.
Yeah, you know, and they're bringing a lot of great OG strains. That's the Deadhead OG we got out there. They got this Mass Genetics Sour Diesel cut, which is again been around for a while out here. A Straw Nana, which they're famous for. They've won a bunch of High Times Cups going back to 2013, 14 with the Straw Nana rosin. So we're just dropping that. So there's a lot of exciting stuff going on here, but really trying to help these craft growers, you know, who are doing it the right way, you know, get their foot out there and really take over the game.
So are you a wholesale distributor of those products? Is that pretty much what you're doing?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have a team of sales reps and you know, field marketing and marketing team. So yeah, we're basically the representative putting these guys out there in the stores and representing them at events like this, and helping build the brand, get the awareness out there that, hey, there's some real craft stuff out there, and you know, come try out the way weed should be done.
And I love the name of the company, the Collab Group, because collaborative deals is keeping this industry alive right now.
Yeah, you got to get creative. You know, we also have a brand, Lace Canna, that's a brand of mine where I work with like smaller craft cultivators. We currently got some stuff in there with Aura, which again it's some great weed. But you know, I'm trying to help and work with the small craft cultivators. You know, like I want Massachusetts to be really stand for craft cannabis, and you know, for the consumers out there to be able to have good access to good product, right? You know, so it's been exciting up to this point. You know, we are trying to collaborate with people on events, on products. We're collaborating with some rosin that we're dropping with Aura through my friend Goodwill Creations. He's doing some washing for us. We recently, you know, did a collab with Sweetgrass Solventless to drop some Straw Nana rosin, real small batch, went quick. But overall, it's you know, that's what it's about. It's about getting creative and trying to work together to build community with the right people.
Right. And there are a lot of right people in this industry, but as you know, there are still some bad players. And unfortunately, you know, that can't happen because anything that this industry makes a mistake or anything bad gets embellished and leads the local news, and it just doesn't help the industry. Sean, has the industry matured at all? Are they understanding now this is a business? You're not going to just open up your dispensary and get rich quick.
No, that's definitely, you know, it's not about a get rich quick out here. You know, and unfortunately, the people chasing that maybe aren't really in it for the right reasons, and that's oftentimes why they have difficulty succeeding. But I think it's about the culture in the community and trying to highlight people who've been fighting for this and putting it on the line before there was money involved, right? Doing it for the people, doing it for to honor the plant. So, again, there's room for a lot of people out there, but I'm trying to do my best to align with the people who've been out here. I've been in these streets for way before there was an industry, and a lot of these same people I've seen out there for decades, right? So those are the type of people who are doing it right that I think we should set the standards by, and that's all you can do. You can continue elevating it, introducing people to more quality products, and also getting creative with branding, right? Like we've seen how brands have been moved in the legacy market for years, and branding is part of it, right? That's one of the things, with some of this cool packaging, Sluggers, for instance, they call it collectible cannabis. We'll do a live pack open here, guys.
Live pack up, and it's all about the labeling.
Yeah, we got the bubble bath Sluggers right here, new drop. We just dropped these about 2 weeks ago.
Is this flour?
This is a 5-pack of infused joints, right? So these are mini joints.
Dog walkers are starting to become more and more.
We'll show you. There's each strain its own collectible card.
Oh, that's so cool, like a baseball card. I love that.
Oh, there
There you go, there
Get
you
some
go.
Little pairing notes.
Yeah.
So they call it collectible cannabis, but these are the mini 5-pack of joints. Show you one out here, just wrapped in keef, bubble hash, beautiful little Sluggers joint right there for you. But yeah, these guys just dropped. We're going to be doing some cool collabs this year. We got some 5-pack of mini blunts out there. The blunt is one of the best blunts on the market. It's a real hemp leaf, so it smokes more like people who smoke blunts traditionally appreciate. But again, just another creative way to tap into the nostalgia, the collectability. Each pack you can scan a QR code and get $5 off the online merch store. They got a bunch of fun stuff going on, and I think you need to tap into, it's about quality flower, but it's also about how you're putting it together and creating loyal customers.
We have a question from the live stream.
Industry well enough that I can throw this at you. You mentioned THCA, okay, which is a product that becomes THC when it gets inflamed, warmed up, heated,
Yep.
and it's an intoxicating, and it is available outside of the dispensary
Yep.
world. Okay, so how are you guys handling match it being nice and to get the craft growers out and their traditional stuff versus the stuff that I mean, look what happened in Texas and in California. They're starting to ban THC infused products.
Right. Yeah, that is. I mean, there's a market for it, right? As with anything, when people in cannabis industry are always going to get creative and find their way.
I'm
But
shocked to hear that there was actually 80 years of this use without all the other stuff, right? I mean,
hey, but no, like even Sluggers, they do have a hemp, product. They're in some of these states where cannabis isn't legal. They do have a THC, a hemp product. I think it's about you got to meet people and communities where they are, right? Not unfortunately, yeah, we don't have full, legality across the nation, but the way to do it is step people through. Some of these states were a little late to get on board with legalization, or even with the medical program. This is some way that unfortunately, there's less regulation in it, which I mean, but good or bad, depending on how you look at it. But it's at least a step in the right direction, and hopefully, a positive, step that gets more people a positive experience in using cannabis as a daily, part of their life.
you familiar with a website called mood.com?
I'm not. Who's this? One of your sponsors?
No, I wish. Well, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. First of all, if you go to mood.com, mood.com, you can buy, it says it right on the homepage, legal THCA products shipped to your door. How does that make you feel when you see something like that?
Hey, I mean, it is what, it's always been crazy. And, again, for some people, that's the only access they have, unfortunately. So like, I am for about people having access to this as a medicine and as, a way to improve their life in many ways. So, unfortunately, we're blessed to have this, to live in a world where I don't have to worry about smoking or having weed on me, but unfortunately not everyone does, right? So at least there is some solutions out there. But at the end of the day, people still want more out of than, while there's going to be a good portion that mail order it, people want to engage. They want to be part of a community. They want to engage. They like to stop in dispensaries. Their dispensaries are having a lot of great events, creating community events like this out here today for the industry. People want to have more than just a product. They do want to have a relationship with their brand, know who they're supporting, understand where their money's going. And I think that's how we continue to fight the battle about putting out craft products and working with the right people.
How many products do you represent?
So currently, right now, we have the Sluggers, which just launched. We represent Aura, um, and then Laced is another flower brand, and those are the primary brands we got in market right now. Yeah.
Gotcha. So 3 brands of flour.
Yes, Aura also has some concentrates. They have a brand called Vibes, which is more of our, value conscious brand, and we have some vapes over there. And then we just dropped the rosin, and rosin vapes are dropping next week. So we're brand new. Again, 6 months in the market with Aura, but we just won Nikan Cup, best overall flower, best sativa with our Sunkissed Tangie. So if you like Tangies that hit hard, the Sunkissed Tangie is one of them. So look for it out there. And then they just took second place, 2 second place runners up in the 420 Cup, roll up cup on 420 with the RS11 as well as the Deadhead OG. So yeah, I mean they got a lot of, again, these are strains that have been bred, by Mass Genetics, by Jay. He's got years into them and have been, the Strong Nano was the first East Coast entry to win a West Coast competition like 10 years ago in High Times, right? To 2013, right? So now we're able to bring it to the legal market and, more broad spectrum. And I'm just excited to help, bring good products to the people.
You do, Sean, and I really do, and I know the people will appreciate it too. And your passion is unmatched as well as is your knowledge. So anyway, I appreciate you stopping by and talking with us and giving us. I really wanted to know what the collab group was because after all, I was looking at the list of the vendors and.
We've worked with a bunch of different brands. I mean, we've, early on when Breathe Free was just first getting in the market, like their first 6 months, we kind of helped them get a good sales footing out there, and then they built their team, right? So we're all about just, helping people get out there, right? We've worked with the brand Fat Panda for a little while. We just rocked the Micro Bar for like a year and a half. So we've worked with different brands. We're getting ready to launch a new vape and with Sluggers. So that's kind of why we're going in all in with them on the vape. But
Love the baseball card.
yeah, I mean, the collectability is awesome. And, out west, they do a lot of small batch drops. I should have brought the book. We have a whole booklet, like a card collecting booklet. So it's over at the booth. But so if anyone's watching this, they're at the event, stop by the booth and check it out. But, you go on eBay, there's cards for sale, 50, 80, 200, like some of these limited edition ones, it really is creating some collectability. And again, I grew up riding my bike to the card shop, in the 80s, so it's like.
Was it just a reference of you taking a baseball card and putting it in the spokes of your bicycle? Did I understand that reference?
I think I did have the spokes in the baseball cards back in the day, so it was wild. But, it was started with like old school, but, tops and Fleer cards, and then into basketball. And then, some of the younger people out here, more the Pokemon and the Magic, but collect. And now it's even cards are going nuts right now, right? Like there's all these card vaults and events and live rips. So it's like tapping into something that, it's not just a product. People do want to have a connection outside of just, that they can affiliate, their cannabis consumption with and support brands that speak to them. Right. So I think that's what it's about, is finding different ways to engage and create loyalty. But also just keep it exciting for people, right? We're smoking weed out here. Let's have fun.
It's hard to believe. I pinch myself that I'm at a cannabis show in the 21st century. It's legal. There are hundreds of people here, hundreds of vendors. You have great panels, discussions up there as well. It really is amazing. But let me ask you a question. Have I ever shared the Grateful Dead story that I have?
Well, I don't know if you have. What is it? Tell me about it.
Well, the year was 1986. It was the year that the Red.
Deep here, folks. Deep.
No, it's old. Okay, this is what happens when you get old. You live in the past a little bit, and it was one night. So ex-wife number one. All right, there's been 2. Let's just say one is the mother of my son, and he's now 34. But she ran a 5-star inn on the water, in by the sea in Cape Elizabeth.
Yep.
Okay. And when the Grateful Dead played Oxford Plains Speedway in 1986, they would fly in on a helicopter from Oxford Plains Speedway to a farm. The police put together like a little helipad with all their headlights, right? And they landed at midnight, and the police are playing Dark Side of the Moon, and Bob Weir and Jerry Garcia get out of the plane, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is so cool!" And, it feels like they're Dark Side.
Amazing, yeah, that's pretty amazing.
So later on that evening, okay, that was midnight, okay, and I was doing the 11 o'clock news. People, I actually had a life and a job, and was a public figure in Portland, Maine for a couple of years, 11 years. We retired to a suite, and in that suite, so Dennis McNally was their longtime publicist, all right, and he was from Maine, and obviously Maine, he's like, "Oh, you're a sports guy at Channel 13." I go, "Yeah, I am." And he goes, "Well, that makes you cool." And I mean, no, what makes me real cool is you want to party. And sorry, I admit it. And we went up to the room with the late Brent Midland,
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, bro.
First of all, I had dinner with the late Brent Midland, and then we retired to a suite. And in that suite was Billy Kreutzmann, the original drummer of the Grateful Dead. So, needless to say, we partied until 4:30 a.m.
You
It
got
wasn't just weed; it was the 80s after else. But let's just say,
there, huh? But no, that's a party. I'm sure I would have liked to be a part of with those guys.
so for 2 hours, and of course, this was before the internet. Young people don't even realize that it was actually before the internet. We had to use encyclopedias and stuff like that. And there was a globe in the room. And we were discussing literally for 2 hours what's closer to the North Pole, Portland, Maine, or Portland, Oregon. And what else? And how else are we going to do it? We looked at the globe and we're trying to, get out the rulers and seeing which ones. And what do you think the answer is first?
I would say Portland, Oregon.
Hey, it's Portland, Maine.
Oh wow.
It's just
So
no, trust me, that took 2 hours to get us to there, by the way. And nobody
back in time with Jimmy Young out here, back in time.
got a few more. I've got the Jerry Seinfeld story too, but I keep that one special.
You gotta tease it. You gotta tease it. It's the next episode.
If we can ever get Andrew Winsberg over here, maybe we'll get into that as well. But Sean Curley, how do people find out about the collab group in case they want you to represent their brand?
Yeah, you can check us out, growthecollab.com. You can also visit us on Insta. We're collab brands _ official.
Any problem with Instagram ever?
Yeah, we've had like a suspension for a minute, like once, but I've ran pages for years, going back to the old school days of Canna Provision, Sensi, and overall, no, we've been pretty lucky. I know, unfortunately, I knock on wood, there's been a lot of people who've been getting caught lately. I think the best thing to try to avoid is like just trying to sell product out there. If you're trying to be more educational, not really like pointing them to stores or putting promos live, that's, I think, the best kind of way. I mean, if you're just trying to educate and that's the best way you can approach it out there. Unfortunately, there's not better platforms. LinkedIn's starting to be one, but it's more, it's not quite the reach. But yeah, we see there's a lot of engagement out there. Sluggers has huge followings. They've, gone through a couple. But I did lose one too. So we had to start a new one recently. Right when I came on with them a couple months back. So, but at the end of the day, man, you got to still try to engage. This is a fun industry. People want to have connection with, you got to create some loyalty and you got to make it fun while also putting out good products.
That seems to be the magic sauce in this space. And Sean, you know what? You've been around a long time. There aren't too many people that can match your depth of experience. You know that, right?
I guess you realize sometimes, but yeah, I mean, I've been out here this is something since I was a child. Cannabis is something that's bettered my life for over 30 years now. And, I grew up in Western Mass, shout out Berkshires, Pittsfield, the 413. But there's a lot of woods out there, people growing. There's not much to do out there, but grow weed and have a good time. So like, it's just been something in my blood since I've been young. And once the industry took off, I did my best to be a little part with Sensi Magazine at the time that I launched, to try help and normalize cannabis, right? Referencing the event Jimmy did. That was like the first real weed event at a like a club like that in the city. And now we go there, Cypress Hill, and 1 million people are smoking weed, at some of these places. So it's just a different time. I had to have a dab bus out front, and even that was crazy at the time, right? Like
the Bliss Bus was out there. I missed the Bliss Bus.
We had to have the Bliss Bus, and there was also my homie James used to have this nice bus. But yeah, that's how we had to do it back then. But look at today where we're at. So it's like, hopefully, I just look back and said I did my little part that I could through media and through the reach of my network here in Boston, whereas a lot of people want good weed, right? And looking back, that party was epic, and it's good to see that we're doing things like this today, so many years later. So, proud to be doing a little part to make Massachusetts the craft scene that it should be, that I've had access to, luckily, since I've been a kid, since the 90s of buying weed, right? Shout out to Chem Dog, had the Chem Dog back in the day. That's kind of how I got into good weed.
I saw Dan up there interviewing Chem Dog earlier.
Yeah, Chem Dog and Dan, the homies, are out here. It's great to see them doing their thing out here. I was working with them to bring together Smash Hits Cannabis, as well as Meg and Eric from Canna Provisions, who are also good friends and, great mentors in the game.
Eric Williams did the first ever In the Weeds podcast with me in my studio in 2018.
Talk about OGs, right? These guys have been around freedom fighting early on big levels. And you know, Meg was the first female who opened a dispensary in Colorado, working to get those laws run. You know, so like working with them was a great experience, and bringing together a great team that's still doing big things today.
Absolutely. And I did chat with Meg about the attempt to get their cause in front of the Supreme Court. And I told her, I said, I give you a lot of credit, go for it. It hasn't gotten to where it needs to go. But
Right.
according to what Meg said, don't give up. We haven't given up.
That's the truth. I mean, again, they've been out here, you know, people like myself and some others. There's a lot of great people who've been fighting for the cause for years. But yeah, there are definitely some people who've done it, and you have to stay persistent and fight for what you want out here, and or else the right people aren't going to have the right opportunity. The industry isn't going to unfold where it's sensible for consumers and makes it friendly for businesses to operate in a way that makes sense for everyone, so it's sustainable.
Right. And you mentioned the word normalization, and that's what I really go with. Legalization involves politicians and lawyers. Normalization means you need to educate people about this product, that it is a plant medicine. It's funny when people say, oh no, it's a drug. And I'm like, look, is alcohol, how do you look at alcohol? Well, alcohol's been around. I'm like, well, we all learned by self-medicating with alcohol what our limits were. The same thing is happening now with cannabis, with the different strains. And it is a little overwhelming when you go into a dispensary and you see like 40 different strains because you just don't know. And then everybody goes back to what? Sean, what's the percentage of THC?
Well, that's the thing. You have to give them another metric, right? So like even with Aura, right? We roll out the Aura Gold, which is like basically myself and a couple of serious weed heads like curating, hey, this is the best of the best that, that hits, it cures it. The terps are there, the bag appeal, it's the big colas, right? So you know what you're getting and you create an expectation that delivers, right? You can't, I mean, the consumers have been ripped off out here with all this high testing weed that is not really the highest quality, match it, but that's how they're getting fleeced and they're sick of it, right? So they're looking for brands to be consistent with what they deliver, and you know what to expect each time. But again, that's why there is some of these great smaller, brands that have a lot of experience, like Aura, like Your Highness, like Fresh Connection, Tower 3, some of these guys who've been growing for years and now they're getting the chance. And we're Breathe Free, like I mentioned, we work with. That's what I think it's about, is getting some of these craft growers who get a chance. And that's how you have weed, and someone like me can walk into a dispensary and find stuff that's up to the quality I want, right? And that's, while I support home grows and craft growers, and a lot of my friends do it, like it's great to have access to some similar quality in source.
Right. And, you mentioned OG a lot. So, I can relate to the old guy. I know it's old gangster, by the way. Okay. But I get the old guy thing too. The original gangster, right? Original gangster. But does it get you high or doesn't it, Sean? Because like this is how I used to judge weed back in the 70s. Is it 1-hit weed, 2-hit weed, 3-hit weed? And if you're not high after 3 hits, stop smoking. Accurate?
Probably for your average consumer, it's more like 3 joints for me. But no. I mean, to be honest, there is some fire weed out there right now that is like, I smoke a lot of. I'm a glass collector, so I smoke a lot of bubblers, and there's a lot of weed that you take a nice solid bubbler hit, a couple hits, and it's like, wow, that's a good high these days. And again, it's just good to see the market transitioning and trending towards more craft weed. And it's not just 1 or 2 people. There's a lot of people putting stuff out that are doing it right, not remediating it. No need to, because they're growing it and curing it properly. And again, that's what's just I'm happy to see on the market. And I'm happy to be working with someone who does it as well. Like, we're not having to get in it, we never remediate anything. Like that's just, we're trying to put out high quality flower, solventless products, and educate the market on, what I think. It's how I've been enjoying it. And, and I think most people should have that knowledge to be able to choose what they want out there, So yeah, I mean, it's all about just trying to bring good products to the people, have a good time doing it, and aligning with the right type of groups and growers to, to really showcase, be proud of.
Sean Curley, you're a good man. And I so appreciate you coming out. And Bailey, I mean, absolutely. You can always go down the Yellow Brick Road. I'm not even sure what I'm going to do, because as I look around, I do not see the man, the myth, the legend that is the Yellow Labs creator. And he was supposed to sit with me at 2:30, and now it's now an hour later, right? Yeah. 3:30. So I'm gonna bail. I'm gonna make a phone call, see if he's alive and well, and see what's going on. He was hanging around. I know he's here, but he just disappeared when it was at
20.
Well, this ends. This is not going to go past 4:20. In fact, it may not go past 3:40. But anyway, Sean, thank you again.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And the collab.
Again, collab brands official, Sluggers MA, Aura Mass on the Insta, and we're all over. Check us out our website on Collab Group or Aura website for our store locator. We're all over the place.
That's Sean Curley. I'm Jimmy Young. We're going to take another break and we'll come back. I know we'll come back at least one more time. With
Can't stop this guy.
You can't stop me from talking. I think I filled about 15 minutes there earlier today, but I'm running out of stories. Although, I teased the Jerry Seinfeld story. It is still one of my favorite moments. And it was certainly, when you add in the fact that do you know who Larry Miller is? He was in Pretty Woman. He was the Rodeo Drive clerk who was sucking up, sir, sucking up. That's like that was one of my favorite scenes. So I remember it. And Jerry Seinfeld and Carol Leifer, who was a stand-up comic in the 80s and was the executive producer. Ex-wife number one picked me up one day, pulled out a joint. And, in Maine, you have no place to go on a Sunday night anyway.
Right.
And the only place back then in the 80s that was open 24 hours, 7 days a week was LL Bean in Freeport. So we went up to LL Bean at 11:30 at night, and we walked in under the influence of cannabis. I mean, okay, I just want to say I was not driving, just for the record. I was being picked up by ex-wife number one. Her name's Renee, by the way. Anyway,
Deep.
that's right. Well, you know what? I was 26 years old when I got married the first time.
It's all right.
All
Who
right.
wants to go down there?
No, I said everybody gets a mulligan, right? And some of us get one aside, as they say in golf, right? Anyway, I went through the hat section with Jerry Seinfeld and Larry Miller. And, when you go through the hunting hats,
Yeah.
you immediately go back to the Daffy Duck, Silly Wabbit, oh, and the two of them were freaking so funny. And yes, we were high, but my sides hurt. All right. That's how much I was laughing. It was so cool. And then over the loudspeaker, we hear Carol Leifer. Mr. Seinfeld, will you please come to Lost and Found? Your child is here. And that's how that story ends.
Sets it
And
off.
it was really that was 1986.
Yeah, he's
if-
name dropping
if I-
Seinfeld, the Dead.
Well, I've had
I
I have had a lot of experiences in the 80s, let's just say, and then the 90s. I got back to Boston and had those experiences. That was my career goal, was to get back to Boston, and I was able to accomplish that as well. So anyway, enough about me. We're going to take a break, and the collab group, yeah, look, and be nice to Sean, because he's got this Hatchet product right now. Lizzie Borden, I think that is a brilliant marketing thing. Absolutely.
GMO Skittles, that's what it's crossed with, but it's a unique mass genetics strain. And yeah, we're rocking hard with Lizzie B. And rumor has it the Borden family's been in and they think it's great.
There you go. Another unsolicited plug, and that's what it's all about. So let me take a break and see if I can rustle up somebody else to chit chat with. But we'll have more live from the Flower Expo after this.
Signing off.
Great. Oh, I'm glad you got to hear those stories. Those are two of my favorite stories. The Jerry, that's if I had my smartphone. You know what I mean?
Here, I'll leave you a little J.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank
Here,
you so
take a
much.
Lizzie.
Oh, I love the Lizzie thing. Now, is that a pre-roll in here?
Yeah, that's a free roll.
And it's just the packaging that's in a Hatchet.
We got a 1 ounce Hatchet joint. Hold it right now. We'll probably get a spark tomorrow.
Well, I
that okay.
I think I am staying here overnight. But I mean, I saw Rachel who's at that same booth, and I go, and whatever. You know what? I'm comfortable. Do you mind if I Venmo you a request for that appearance? You're a good man. Let me ask you a question. Represent this to you?
What is that? I don't even know what it is.
So it's a
Oral mist.
This is an oral mist. It's 2.5 milligrams spritz under your tongue, like Banaka, of THC, fast acting, long lasting. Okay. And it's like a hash high. It's a very cerebral high, and there's 60 spritzes in one of these 125 milligram total. And I know a guy who
makes them.
Ander, who hasn't shown up. ACS out of Richmond. You know ACS, Stephen? Further?
Yeah, I don't know. What's the one that's there?
Stephen Worthen.
I know Stephen.
Well, Steve and I grew up around the corner from each other. We used to smoke a joint on the way to the bus.
Oh, no way.
And sometimes we didn't get on the bus. If you catch my
It
drift.
happens. It happens.
And now, it's a very cool. Let me tell you, I already gave away one. You know what?
They have someone selling this stuff, don't they?
So
Haley is the wholesale rep for ACS, but she has 70 SKUs that includes this. And then Rachel, who's my friend, who I introduced Gander to, is now the rep for Yellow Labs, and I'm kind of business development because I'm incentivized to open it up in different markets. He's importing dispensaries in Ohio, and he's killing Ohio. They took a $70,000 order from me, you know, so,
I mean, I'll have to find out more about it. And it depends on how the whole deal is done and how it works and where it's distributed out of.
again, right now, the only licensed dispensary that has it is ACS, and then you have the other 7 that we've sold each in with that product, in addition to other products. You know, right now it's just the Yellow Labs product. And he's here. He's right. So you know where I know where your booth is. It's right near you. Isn't it outside?
I didn't really make it around. I'm busy over there.
Okay.
I feel like just peel myself away from you, dude.
No, and let me tell you, I so appreciate that. I really do. Especially since I just can't believe like he was here at 1:30. He was here.
I mean, I was here, dude, you know?
No, I saw you walk by and I said, I gotta wrap up this so go get him. That was good.
Yeah, I'm trying to close deal. It's wild.
Yeah,
out here
yeah.
today.
Yeah, well, look, it's great. I may end up just shutting down and getting some news stuff. Because, you know, I still produce the national news, which by the way, yesterday's.
So where is this gonna be? Where do I find this content?
It's on so if you go to Pro Cannabis Media.
Can I cut some of it up to get clips or something?
I'm gonna send
Right,
it
that's what you're gonna do.
with your logo on it
Got you.
and just our stuff.
I can send you my logos.
Yes, please do.
All right.
You know, and you would have my email, it's Jimmy at Pro Cannabis Media. There. And you know, we have an app now too. And this week's news on Monday, we did 5,000 views and 38,000 impressions in 24 hours. So we are really starting to get 15,300 subscribers on our YouTube channel. And it's all been organic, John. I haven't spent a dime. I've lost everything. But you think I'm gonna walk away from it now? I gotta make it happen. That's the way I look at it. I mean, everyone's once you're gonna retire, like, I didn't get it. That's when I retire. When I am done,
Just gonna stay out here, go out on air, dude.
that's right. That's right. That's right. Eric, I don't know if you can hear me or not. If you can hear me or not, but I'm happy now to shut this down because the other 2 people that I thought were going to show and, you know, haven't. So I give Sean credit. I give Rebecca credit. I give Deirdre credit. They're the ones that were there for me. And I don't forget that loyalty. You know, I don't forget that. And yes, I will be cutting this up and sending it to you. I use a service. Oh, I think we're back now. I think that means I'm back, which means I'm going to just wrap it up. Okay. And I hope that's okay with Eric, because I think he probably has more important things to do than to listen to me for an hour and a half. But this has been an experiment for us, but we did it. We did it a few times in the past, and we're doing it again now at Pro Cannabis Media. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are starting to expand onto those horrible social media platforms that anybody who knows me personally knows I abhor. That being said, there is a page at Pro Cannabis Media on Instagram, and it is Pro Canna Media on Facebook. But, you know, they're owned by the same company, and they don't like cannabis. Let's just say. And we haven't been shadow banned and we have been taken down up till now. That may change. But I want to thank Eric Williamson, who directs this, live streams this, and puts up with me on a daily basis. So for Eric and everybody here at Pro Cannabis Media, I am PCM TV founder Jimmy Young. Don't forget, we still have an app. You can download that app for free. And every Monday, there's a new Cannabis Coast to Coast news with Elena Pinto for your enjoyment, so you can learn about what's going on, not only here in Massachusetts, but all across the world now that we have international correspondents. So thank you all for watching. And remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there, people. Use it,